It made me cry.
This One's Wife. Jam and dog biscuits. Megablunder. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This One's Wife sought to upstage Trooping the Colour and Catherine's return to a public appearance, the first since she withdrew from public life as a consequence of abdominal surgery and a cancer diagnosis, with raspberry jam and dog biscuits. Parts Passim explain precisely what this was attempting to do and how she's roundly failed. At the time of attempting to wrench that attention away from the nemesis, driven by that all-pervading narcissism, this One's Wife had no choice but to take this step. Her narcissism demanded it of her, in the same way that each and every day it causes her to use the people around her in the pursuit of controlling them, drawing fuel from them, stripping them of character traits where applicable, and also sniffing out those residual benefits. This pursuit of the prime aims is incessant. She doesn't take a week off from it. She isn't able to go and lie on a sun lounger, feeling the sun on her skin, and relax and just enjoy being in that moment. Oh no. The nagging itch is always there. Sometimes it feels like anxiety. Sometimes it feels like the walls of the world are tumbling in on her. Other occasions, the nagging itch can barely be felt, and she feels powerful, all-conquering, fizzing with fuel. But the fact is, she, like any narcissist, is unable to enjoy the moment because all of the time that she is conscious, the narcissism must be controlling those around her. It must be seeking out the fuel. That background app is working away to achieve those prime aims. And thus it was duty-bound to do the same with regard to the wounding posed by her non-invitation to Trooping the Colour and the fact that the nemesis was making a public appearance, which was much lauded around the world. Thus, in order to upstage that, she organised for Nacho Figueras to present via Instagram a jar of jam and some dog biscuits. There was much commentary across social media ridiculing this. And then there comes the amplification of her ridicule, which demonstrates the fact that this is a knee-jerk narcissist that operates through instinct, that scrambles for whatever she can lay her hands on to try and deflect from the attention that Catherine was receiving and seeking to nullify the threat to control posed by her non-invitation. Collateral consequences, as you know, repeatedly occur when it comes to this One's Wife because her narcissism is focused on addressing the moment, the now, not thinking about what comes next. She's not that sophisticated. She's not subtle. She is an individual that must pursue those prime aims. That is the be-all of her existence. And as we have seen so often, that not only does she attempt to do something and fail at it, the failure in itself being problematic, but because she has courted the international stage, her failures are invariably amplified by both social media and mainstream media. If you like, exacerbating the threat to control posed by the initial favour itself. If you were walking down the road and you happened to trip up, it's likely that nobody saw it. You might have been walking along an empty street, so you feel a little bit embarrassed that you stumbled over. Perhaps you've hurt your knees, and you dust yourself down and you carry on. There might have been some passers-by. You feel a little bit silly because they saw you tumble over. Kind-hearted passers-by may well come to see if you're all right. You might have the misfortune of someone laughing at your accident, which adds to your embarrassment. But unless you happen to be caught on CCTV, which then finds its way onto one of these fail compilations, chances are that's where the matter ends. You're not well known. No newspaper is going to report on Mrs. Bloggs tripping over on Acacia Avenue. Thus, the matter ends there. But for this one's wife, because her narcissism has driven her to court international infamy, this also means that when she fucks up, and she regularly does because of her Sadim Touch, this results in the amplification of her failures. Thus, it once again demonstrates how unsuited her narcissism is for the position that she elbowed her way into. It enables her to deal with the day-to-day, in-the-moment problems, but then leads to a much larger one, and it simply is ill-equipped to deal with it. This is ably demonstrated as a consequence of the jam and dog biscuit debacle. For having failed in attempting to wrestle attention away from Catherine, this then gets reported on. And here, it's the Super Soaraway Sun that reports on it, and they're not the only ones. There are plenty of other news outlets that have done so. They lead with the headline, Megablunder. Summer Ray Mason reports, Megablunder. This one's wife made ridiculous mistake hours before trooping the colour. Her PRs would never have agreed, claims expert. This one's wife made a ridiculous blunder hours before trooping the colour, a royal expert said. The Duchess of Sussex, 42, sparked controversy after a very, very odd American Riviera orchard move. PRs would have warned her against it. Just hours before the major royal event, Trooping the Colour, this one's wife decided to launch 2 new American Riviera orchard products. Harry's polo pal Nacho Figueras shared a snap on Instagram of his luxury raspberry jam and some dog biscuits sent by the former Suits actress. Meanwhile, hubby Harry failed to acknowledge King Charles's official birthday on Saturday and seemingly ignored Father's Day. See parts pass him. Speaking to The Sun exclusively about this one's wife's ill-timed brand roll-out, royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams said, This one's wife and Harry know perfectly well every single thing they do is monitored by the press. The idea that they would do something on the day of Trooping the Colour, it's pretty silly. It's a clash of sort. What was done was just silly. We know in March, this one's wife launched American Riviera Orchard. We know that she sent some 50 jars of strawberry jam to some of her pals and influencers. She had a few endorsements, but this wasn't really impressive. There weren't many A-listers who said how wonderful it was. What's so odd is that she did anything on the day of Trooping the Colour at all. It doesn't make any sense. The label on the jar said 2 of 2. If she's only going to send 2 jars out, what on earth is the point? I don't think it's been thought out. This makes no public relations sense. It's ridiculous. Mr. Fitzwilliams added that the Duke and Duchess are well known for distracting and diverting attention away from royal events. The Sussexes have never cared about the royal protocol that you don't have a diary clash, said the expert. This one's wife would not have been advised to do this by any of her public relation consultants. This is something of a joke. It's very, very odd. If she just sent the jam to a friend, she should have asked him not to post it, because otherwise it clearly makes them objects of mockery. The royal commentator added how it was a weird choice amid the royal family's ongoing pressures. The official birthday of Harry's father, who is battling cancer, and since this was so significant that Catherine was able to watch the parade from the office in Horse Guards and also appear on the balcony, and that she is undergoing preventative chemotherapy for cancer. So you can't make sense of what the Sussexes have done. They should just have been quiet. Criticism there from the royal expert, the observations of Richard Fitzwilliams, and amplified through the Super Soaraway Sun. This, of course, highlights all the more the ridiculousness of this one's wife's behaviour, driven by that visceral need to upstage. But all that it does is create more ridicule of her, With The Sun reporting on this and other news outlets doing the same, yes, she's being spoken about, so it's fuel for her, but it's challenge fuel because it's questioning her activities, demonstrating that it was done to upstage, highlighting her envy, and thus criticising her, leading to more threats to control, and highlights her petty behaviours, her ridiculousness, and truly pathetic nature. A mega blunder indeed. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.